Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's always nice to meet a friend and a legend and a star and a man who at midnight has just come off stage and he's talking to us now. Ken Dodd, how are you?
Oh, stop it, Alex. How do you find all these words? I bet you say this to all the comics, don't you?
I actually don't, and I'll tell you why you're a legend. You've been doing this longer than anyone else, and you're still selling out. Here we are in Derby tonight. 20 years ago, we sat here and had the same conversation. Do you realise how incredible it is to pull punters in this economy, show after show after show, year after year after decade after decade?
20 years ago, I remember it because you were in short trousers and you had your school satchel. You'd just been released from your old school, St. Borstal. And I said, hello, Alex. And you said, hello, Mr. Dodd. Hello, Mr. Dodd. Can I take a photograph? I said, certainly not.
Why did you waste your time talking to me? There must have been far more important people to speak to.
There were actually. But you know, when you see a little, you know, a destitute little wretch like you, it reminded me of that famous poem. As I was walking down the street, I saw a little boy with no shoes on his feet. Now I had plenty of money. In fact, I had money to spare. So I dashed into a fruit shop and I bought the boy a pear. See? Now you don't have to laugh. Save that for your other comedians.
That's very nice of you. Let's talk about what we've just seen. 10 minutes ago, I stood there in the wings watching literally hundreds of thousands of people in front of you standing and cheering and saying thank you for what you just did over the last 5 hours. Could you sum up the feeling of what it's like to stand on stage with that kind of reaction? I'm
stage struck. You should know that. They have a saying in Showbiz, anybody who actually loves going on stage and performing to audiences is stage struck, and I am saying I just love doing it. I just love being a comedian, being an entertainer.
You very modestly didn't answer the question, which is the fact that you might love it, but they might not like you, and they do. The feeling that it is stood on that stage getting the reaction must be tremendous.
Well, that's very nice you should say so, Alex. This comes under the heading of a eulogy. A urology. This is, and this when a man is complimenting you, you are obviously, as you know, is a bladder complaint. It's taking the. Yes, it is love. It's love. I've got the best job in the world, you know, because I only see happy people. I only see smiling people. Yeah, it's a wonderful job, and the business of communicating comedy, you know, telling jokes. It's great. It's a lovely way of earning a living. Yeah, great.
It is a blessed life in a way. I mean, you've had this your entire life, and when we look back over the last 60 years on stage, there must be some remarkable moments. The moment when you get to number one, the moment when you first stand on the Palladium stage, and here you are today still doing these shows. How differently does it feel today standing there than it did 30 years ago? Is it less terrifying or more?
Well, first of all, you made a mistake there because you said I've always done I haven't always done this job. I used to work for a living at one time when my father was a coal merchant, when people had coal fires, and my brother Bill and me, we ran the coal business. We ran the coal business for 10 years. I had muscles in those days. And then I've been a salesman. But it's a great feeling to entertain. I came to the assembly rooms here. How long ago was it? It must have been 30, 40 years ago. And I think the first time I came here, I came to do a show. It was like one of these, it was like a sort of celebration dinner, gymnasium prizes. Whether I was expected to go on and show them my muscles, I don't know. Yeah, and me coming back to Derby year after year, and they're a lovely audience, great audience, great old Derbyshire. We play here and we play Buxton. There's a lovely Frank Matcham Theatre there, the Buxton Opera House. Now we played that every year, and this year we played it in the summer, and it was really wonderful because I went on the stage and the first 12 rows were all blondes, and then when the lights went over the interval, it turned out to be sheep. But they were still a good audience. Yeah, they were very good, and they went mad. Yeah.
Is it tough being a sex symbol? I was looking at the reaction from some of the ladies in the audience tonight. It is remarkable that a man of your age can still do something to these ladies. It's inspirational, Ken.
As you mature, Alex, you'll find out that some ladies prefer the older man, you know, more mature and more, well, it's not for me to say, but gifted. They have a saying, they say, the older man, they don't yell, they don't tell, and they're as grateful as hell. So I do my best. No, romance, all ladies love romance. Men love football and beer. But the girls all love stories of romance and love and things. Yeah.
And of course, it's very funny, isn't it? Because life is notoriously silly, and that's what you do on stage. I just stood there and watched 4.5 hours of material, and most of it is about how silly our lives are if you look at it from a different way.
Well, you're trying to be intellectual now. You're trying to make me sound like an intellectual. I'm not an intellectual. There's a huge difference. A lot of you get a lot of comics today, and they're very, very clever. They're very, very, very clever, but they're not all that funny. Being clever and being funny are two different things. Who was it used to say? I think it was Jimmy James who said to me, "See, Ken, some comedians do a show with the audience, and some comedians do a show at the audience, and with them is the right way. You got to bring people along with you. You've got to try and encourage people to let you into their minds so you can tickle their minds. That's what it really is. It's just taking concepts, turning them upside down, sideways on, making fun of logical conclusions. Yeah, if you can tickle their minds, and you've got to, first of all, you have to get their confidence that they let you do that, because some audiences are they're a bit they pull the drawbridge up if the comic starts getting a little bit too close to them, a bit personal, and then you've got a job on your hands. But no, the first 30 seconds when you go on the stage are very important. That's the posh actors call it establishing rapport. The Gracie Fields used to say it was a silver thread from the entertainer, from the artist, to the audience, and I call it building a bridge. Once you've built that bridge, once you've gained their confidence and said, in other words, you're saying, "Bye, here I am, folks. Here, bye, Joe. Let's all have a good laugh. I'm harmless."
I've never met anybody in the business who is more humble or has more humility than you do. I mean, you sit here and try and pretend that you're not clever and you're this and you're that. You're one of the most well-read people I've ever met. I mean, you love reading, you love learning, and the reason you're still doing it at your age is because you never cease to have a passion for learning, do you? And finding out new stuff.
I love books, and a book is really, generally speaking, if he's a good writer, it's usually someone who wants to impart to the reader the benefit of his experiences. Somebody once said that whatever we have today, whatever we learn today, we have learned by standing on the shoulders of great people in the past. And if you can always learn. You can learn. One of the greatest thrills in life is to learn something every day. If you can learn a new fact every day, it's a marvelous feeling, and then you know that your life is really ongoing. You're really, that's the reason you're here. Yeah, you've got to keep learning. You've got to keep learning a little something every day. Now, today, for instance, what have you learned today, Ken? Well, I'll tell you. You've got to be very careful when you're speaking to people with red hair, because I'm not criticizing you. I wouldn't criticize you just because you red hair. You can't. You can't really. I'm not.
Do you think it's a disadvantage in life? Julian Clary once said it'd be nicer to party, perhaps at Halloween.
It turns you into a different species, you see. You are a different species. I mean, you get orangutans, you get gorillas, you get apes, and you get monkeys. You get all kinds of dogs. You get retrievers. You get bulldogs. I don't know, where would you find... I think you... yes. You have a look about you of Lassie.
Oh,
because Lassie was a he, you know that, yeah.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah, we might have made a name on the screen, Hollywood as Lassie, but Lassie was a male. Yeah.
Very finally, before we go, I want to talk about the people you've worked with, because one of the great things about you and your career is that you really were in the heyday of show business. I mean, you more or less work with every single person, from the Beatles to Les Dawson to the great comics to the actors to the singers of the future generations. Do you see it as your timing was perfect in a way, that you were born at the right time, you had your career at the right time?
I was very blessed. The theatres were gradually, the old theatres were gradually, there's new theatres now. There are probably more theatres now than there were, say, in 1950, 1954, because there's lots of theatres being rescued, lots of new theatres opening. There's lots of theatres now, and live entertainment, being a live performer. That's what I like. I am a performer. I do my shows live because I play an audience like you play the violin or the piano or the saxophone. You play an audience and you know how to handle them. If there's any skill involved, it is in handling an audience. And so by doing live shows and working with great performers, who I hope I learned a little bit from every one of them. Right from the very beginning, I worked with some of the great comedians, some of the great comedians, ladies and gentlemen. And I learned a little bit from each one. I hope I did anyway. And then the greatest teacher of all, of course, is experience. And live performances, live entertainment has been with us now for thousands of years, from the days of Aristotle, Aristophanes. They were good lads. They were good. They were the sort of the cannon and ball of their day. The Greeks, right through the Romans, right through to the medieval, the mystery plays. Yes, this is a bit of a mystery play, this one. Through to the music hall, variety, pantomime, live entertainment. The best show in the world is a live show, because you don't just watch it, you're in it, you take part in it. Mentally, physically, and psychologically. Yeah, the live show. Television is wonderful. Radio is marvellous for comedy. Films are marvellous. They're all wonderful. But a live show is the best show.
The marvellous thing about you is you are a stand-up comic, and that's what we should remember you as, of course, firstly. But you're also a tremendous singer who has had an incredible success. I mean, Tears for Souvenirs sold more than John Lennon's Imagine, for example. The statistics are remarkable. You still love it. It's still a big part of your show, isn't it?
Timing, singing a song, the timing of singing even a popular song or a ballad, the timing is the same as telling a story. If you listen to Frank Sinatra, you'll hear him, the way he times all his vocals, absolutely spot on. It's a bit like, well, if you get an expensive watch and take the back off, and you'll see the timing, the balance, the wheels going round. That's what a great story is like. That's what a great song is like. They're very, very delicate pieces of material, and if you learn to interpret them the right way, that's when you'll succeed.
Few people in our lives touch us in a way that is good, is positive, and will live on forever. Do you realise how much you have affected people's lives, how much joy you've brought to them, and how loved you are? Because I sometimes wonder that. I've known you for a long time. Do you realise, and do you ever think about the love that is shown towards you and that people have in their hearts for you?
That's a very, very nice speech, very kind, but that's not a subtle way of asking for your money back, is it? But that's one that we can't return money.
You've achieved something that so few have.
I'm very, very grateful. I'm very grateful for all the kindness and love and support I've had over the years. Just at this moment, I don't know whether it's the right time, I'd like to wish everybody a very, very happy 2014, a very happy new year. Good health, prosperity, and happiness. That's what we're here for, you know. Being alive means you've got to search for happiness, and it's everybody's right to be happy. So, wishing you all a very, very Merry Christmas, folks. Have a lovely time, you know. Have a great time over Christmas. But when you approach the new year, think about it and say, make the most of every hour, make the most of every minute, make the most of every day. It's a great life. Yeah, it's a great life. It's a wonderful life. If you're very happy.
I think the great philosopher Oprah Winfrey once said, you get back in life what you give out, and all you have done for the last 60 years on stage is give out happiness. I hope you've got as much happiness back as you've given, because you deserve it. Ken Dodd, thank you for talking to me again.
Thank you, young Alex, and I hope life is good for you too, yes. Remember, a fool and his money are soon parted. Just let them try.